I am going to show some further things I am learning about the Lightspeed, and this is going to be based on today's writing in court. One thing that is very cool is you can go into your settings here, and if you click on load, you can pull up somebody else's configuration file. And I have Greta the Great. I used hers that she emailed me, and clicked on it and clicked open, and what that did was loaded her configuration settings for how she has her Lightspeed set up. If you notice on the Lightspeed, there is no dial or gear or screws or anything to adjust the keys on the actual Lightspeed. All the configurations are made here in this graphical user interface, or this Lightspeed program. And as I had mentioned on another video, you can press different keys, or if you have your Lightspeed plugged in, you can even hit it that way. And I hit the letter A on the Lightspeed, and you can see here you have a number, and you can even see how hard I hit that key. If I hit it softly or just barely touch it, I can make it just go down. So it can be very sensitive, and you can make those settings based on what works for you. Now I'm going to go through a job here on Eclipse that I wrote this morning, and we're going to look at a few things. I had down here 8 pages. I had 34 untranslates. This is my second day of writing on the Lightspeed, and that isn't too bad. But let's look through here and let's see some things that what I might want to change on the Lightspeed. For instance, right here, this attorney's name is Roland Monteros. Now I can definitely redefine that, and that's what I want to do. But the point here is you can see I wrote roll hand instead of Roland, which indicates to me I'm either still not comfortable with the letter R on the Lightspeed, or I may want to go back here and I may want to go to this letter R since I have this set up to check. Let's go back and do that again. This is the sensitivity adjustment, which is Alt-E, but I click on here. I'm going to go here and I'm going to check the letter R. Now I can see here that I've got it at 200 and 125. Now let's see how the H looks. Now I can see that the H is a little bit lower in sensitivity. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to change this number based on the letter H. And I'm going to go ahead and put it down here at, I'm going to put it at 125. And then I'm going to click apply. And so right now I have them set the same. So next time I write Roland, or if I want to set up a test file, I will do that and see how that works, because it could be that I was just not hitting this area up here hard enough, because remember it was 200 and 125, and on this one, on the letter H, remember it's got 2 sensitivity levels on the vowel, on the consonant keys. You can see they're all the same, and you can see that maybe this letter S1, sensitivity 1, needed to be lowered and be a little more sensitive to me getting the R in conjunction with the letter H to make the L sound. So I'm going to do that and see how it works. Now there are other ways to adjust multiple keys at the same time. I'm not going to discuss that just yet. Now since I've made that change and I've finished that, I went ahead and clicked done, and you saw it did some updating there. So now let's go back over here, and I'm going to go ahead and edit that. But let's look here at some other things. Okay, down here, this guy's name is Mr. Marino, and earlier I got it to come up okay, but down here I have Mr. Motion No, and if I would have hit the letter P, I would have got Merino, because that should be defined in my dictionary. I've got it a couple of ways, but here's one way that it's defined, and here's another way. But so right here I can see that I want that letter P to be coming up in there to get the word Merino to come out. So once again, I'm going to go back to my Lightspeed, and I'm going to look over here at the letter P after I go to the sensitivity settings, and I can see here that this one is set at, oh wow, it's at 300 and 200, and the others around here are much lower. Now these configurations I got from the great Greta Duckett Harris, and I remember her talking about having trouble with her letter P. I may not have that same problem, and as you can see, I've got the letter F at 150 and 150 from her settings. But I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and change down that 150 and put that in there. I'm going to hit tab and go to the other one and do 150, and I'm going to apply those. And hopefully next time when I come to this word, maybe that letter P will come up for me, because apparently I didn't hit that hard enough. Now remember, I write very light, and I may even want to tone these down some more to be around 100 so that the keys will be more sensitive. I don't pound too hard on the keys and try to have a very light touch, and so I may want to even dial down the settings to make the keyboard even more sensitive to my writing style. And that's the nice thing about it, is you can make it to where you need to hit the keys harder if you need to have more of a tactile feel to it, or you may want to go soft and make the keys more sensitive. The one thing that you really have to avoid is you can't rest your hands on these keys too much, because you tend to get spitting out of just a bunch of stuff, so you have to be careful with that, but you learn as you go. So I can see here that that should have been manual Merino, and I now can check that and maybe get it fixed next time. Let's go here further. Okay, here's an example. Mr. Merino, you've been handed what's been marked as. And I've got a couple of issues there. If you notice here, here's Merino with that letter P in there, whereas before, up here above, I missed the P. So that right there proves to me that maybe I wasn't quite as hard on the letter P as I should have been. But let's go through here and see. You've been handed wheat bin mashed as. And I know that that should be what's been marked as, and I know that if I would have gotten the S in this stroke, it would have come up as what's. So I want to go here one more time to my Lightspeed settings, and I'm going to look at that letter S and see what it's set at. And it seems to be around 125, and judging by some of the other keys around there, they're in that same area. What I think I'll probably do is I'm going to leave it that way and see if I need to focus on that letter S a little bit more, or if I really need to adjust it to make it just a little bit softer and make it more sensitive. I might want to take this down to 125. I look over here at some of these other keys that Greta had set for her settings, and I see some are like here a little bit more sensitive and some aren't as sensitive. And so I think I'll leave it there, let that one go, make it be what's been marked as. Now here I missed a letter G on this one, and I'm going to look here again at my Lightspeed settings and see where the G is set at. And looks like it's very sensitive, so maybe I just got a little sloppy there and didn't do as well as I should have. Now here's a stacking right here, and it's a little more than, it's just kind of a combination of, whoops, YITS is its contraction for me, and then A. So I stacked apparently its and the letter A. It should have been it's a packet of documents that reflects a signature. So I probably want to work on that. If not, I can go back in here to my Lightspeed settings, and there is going to be a way to where I can do some other anti-stacking adjustments, and we're not going to discuss that so much at this point in this video. Just want to kind of show you all how things are coming up, and, and let's see here. Here's a did you understand both the reading of the Dominguez? I missed the letter T. Should have been documents, and then right here APT should have been and the explanations provided by. So these are some things I may want to look at. The letter H is an issue here, should have been explanation. The letter B should have been and the, and this one should have been letter T. So I can look over here again and go to my settings, look at that letter T. Might need to be a little bit less sensitive, so I'm going to make it 125 and 125 here and see how that does. And was it the letter B? Was another one for and the. Now there's something here that you can also do in the Lightspeed, is if you tend to maybe have some trouble with stuff like that, there are some settings in here where you adjust under advanced. You have a combination rule here to where you may want to put in a couple of combinations here of things you're having trouble with, and I might want to put the P and the T at the top and then add the B down here, and I may want to add or decrease the sensitivity here to make that letter B come up. What you're looking here, these two together are making the combination NT. I choose the first two up here, and then I choose the letter B because that was my problem stroke. And this is how you set this up here. You take the letters that are working okay for you, and then maybe a letter that's being a problem, and this is the one that you want to focus on to make sure it works in conjunction with the P and the T. And so I may want to adjust this and make it a little bit more sensitive, maybe take it down to 90 or 80 so that NT works together and I get that NT stroke to come up. And that's a nice feature here, is that you can set the keys individually, or you can set them in combination. I'm not going to mess with that right now. It could be an issue that I just need to focus on a little bit more of the writing, making sure I'm getting the keys in the right place. Like I said, I don't want to go crazy just yet with the definitions. I can see here's another issue with Merino. Again, I missed a letter, so I may want to look at that. I may want to define it, or I may want to look at some other options there. Now here's interesting. This is my software working here. State of Texas, I missed the S on there. Should have been state of STOFX, but it translated correctly. So while these untranslates say 34, they're not necessarily all untranslates in the sense that it wasn't a word that's the correct word. Here's another one, trial by a judge or a jury, and I wrote the JUR asterisk, but it translated correctly for me. So you can see here, not only do I have some untranslates, but some of the untranslates are actually correct. So this is kind of not necessarily correct as far as an untranslate not being correct. Here's another stacking issue. You have to speak out loud, and so some other things I want to look at. Here's another conflict, an untranslate, but it came up correctly. Again, there's that pesky little letter B that I'm having trouble with, that again I may want to go back in here, adjust my keyboard settings, and let's see what that B is doing. It's not, it's pretty sensitive, but again I may want to drop it down, and I may want to make it be maybe 100 and apply it there and see how it does. So I think I'm going to go ahead and do that to make it work for me. And you can see every time it does this, it sets itself up and it restores it into memory. So this is a few examples of what you might expect with your Lightspeed when you first get it. You're not going to write perfect. I don't think anybody that has one ever came out of the box writing perfect notes. Of course, I'm not writing perfect notes, but I am doing pretty good, and I'm very happy with it at this point. You can see here we got some other untranslates, but they're actually coming up okay. But this kind of gives you an example of what you can look at in your software. Here's an example here. It's competent to proceed in this case. Missed that letter B again. And then here the letter U, it should have been E, UFPLT. So what I may want to do is go back into my Lightspeed settings, and I'm going to look here at the letter E and see how it's set versus the others. Seems to be okay. What I may want to do is go into my advanced settings here and do this combination rule and put in UFPLT and then add the letter E in there and maybe make some adjustments to where that letter E will be picked up. And in this case, I probably would want to lower that down to make it maybe be 70 or 65 to see how it works. But I think I'll not do that for right now. I'll leave it alone, take it back to where it was, and maybe need to be just more conscious of the letter E. So this should give you kind of an example of some things to look at in the Lightspeed when you first get one, and maybe see some things that you're having trouble with. Again, here's that letter B again. It should have been against, and also the K. But my computer software translated it correctly for me, which is good. That's the nice thing about the softwares now, is their ability to look at your misstrokes and correctly translate. And so I think with that I will close out this video, and I hope that everything I said in here was correct. I'm sure that some of you other experts can chime in if necessary. I will be doing some other videos at some point discussing some of these other options that you have in here, especially in this section with the advanced. Maybe go through some more of that stuff there if you're confused about it, and then we'll take it from there. Now, since I have made some changes to my user settings, I'm going to save this as classic. I'm going to go down here to Breck, and then I'm going to call it 913.13 so that I know that today I've got a new user setting. And if something messes up, I can always go back to one from 9:12 in the afternoon, or even 9:12 in the morning. Or if it gets really crazy, I can go back to Greta's user settings, or if I get some other ones from some other people, I might put those into play and try them out. That's what's really nice about this, is you just pick somebody's settings and load them up and just give it a whirl. So with that, I will close this session and hope that it helped. Thanks.